Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the Grow As You Go share series where I share information, things that I learn from books that I read in a lesson type structured format. This week's book is called Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick, and it talks about how AI is its own intelligence and how we can cohabitate with its intelligence and our intelligence working together to accomplish major tasks. Now, me personally, I believe that AI was created for us to help us expand consciousness. So when we talk about co-inhabiting, my idea is, oh, okay, this is going to help us expand consciousness. And the best way for it to do that is for us to deepen our relationship with AI so that AI can help us deepen our relationship with ourselves. This is the core perspective, the core framework that I personally am approaching AI with. And I think it's pretty profound. Anyway, so let's dive into the book. Okay, so Co-Intelligence Workshop Day 1. You'll leave with a clear mental model of how AI thinks, plus a simple prompt formula you can use today. We're going to talk about AI as a partner, not an oracle. We're going to talk about the alien mind mental model, as referenced in the book Co-Intelligence. We're going to talk about attention and transformers, prompting as a life skill, and 2 quick practices that you can do today. So, why does this matter? If AI is a tool for thought, it changes everything. Mollick frames AI as something we can engage with as a coworker, as a coach, a teacher, a friend, really anything that you can imagine. And if that's true, then your results depend less on AI power and more on how you collaborate with it. So you can get faster drafts with better feedback, better questions equals better outcomes, more clarity inside of you, and less overwhelm and more agency. So today's learning goals. Today you should be able to 1. Explain AI simply and accurately, build a working mental model you can share with others. 2. Avoid common AI traps, recognize when confidence doesn't equal correctness. 3. Use a prompt formula, apply a repeatable structure for better results. 4. Steer AI's attention. Understand how your words guide the model. And 5. Leave with 1 gold prompt. Create a usable prompt for your weekly pain point. So, ground rules for a healthy relationship with AI. Think useful, not magical. Even OpenAI's ChatGPT release notes warned about subtle inaccuracies and baked-in bias and recommended labeling synthetic text. Treat outputs as drafts requiring human supervision. Read the outputs is essentially what it's saying. AI can be wrong, and it has been many times. Models predict patterns, they do not verify truth. Confidence does not equal correctness. Fluent language doesn't guarantee accuracy. Don't share private information. Protect sensitive data and personal information. Verify important claims. Always check outputs before acting on them. Keep your judgment on. You remain accountable for all decisions after receiving any sort of AI output. So the core idea is co-intelligence with AI as its own intelligence. Mollick's framing is straightforward. We're entering an era where working with smart machines is basically competency. Like email once was, this is a partnership skill, not a tech trick. You stay accountable, practice builds intuition. The key is learning how to communicate intent effectively. So you use AI as a coworker, use AI as a coach, use AI as a co-teacher. I literally use AI for all of these things and many more roles. So the alien mind mental model. AI is not a person. It's a different kind of intelligence. Today's key metaphor is AI is like an alien mind that learned from oceans of human writing. It can sound human without being human. A review of co-intelligence even describes AI as alien and deeply human because it reflects the data it learned from. All of that endless data that it received from the internet was created by humans. So it's basing its pattern recognition on human patterns. So, of course, it is going to sound very human. It's a pattern engine, not a soul. Text in and text out. It mimics human language. There is no lived experiences, and it is still very useful. Okay, so this is a basic framework of how language models work. The simplest true thing, next token prediction. That's it. It's a prediction model. Casual language modeling predicts the next token from the tokens to the left. GPT-style models are built for that. Think your predictive text in your phone. All right, so tokenize. Tokens are basically sections of sentences. Typically, they're words. Sometimes they could be pairing of words, but each token is a portion of a sentence. All right, those tokens are then given a weighted credit or point system. And those point systems are weighted together to then leverage its predictive capabilities. So it repeats this prediction many, many times based on those weighted points. So it is very fluent, but it's not always true. Your brain does the same thing. So finish the sentence. Peanut butter and jelly. Notice your brain predicts too. AI works similarly, but at a massive scale, predicting the most likely continuation based on patterns in training data. The difference is AI has no understanding what peanut butter actually is. It just knows which words typically follow in text. And if you asked it what peanut butter was, it would look up the definition. But does it actually know? Does it feel what peanut butter is? No. All right, so common misconception check. Useful beliefs only, no fairy tales. Even model documentation and release notes emphasize bias and factual inaccuracies embedded in training data. This is why verification matters. Remember, it is basing all of its predictions on data made by humans. And there's a vast amount of data out on the internet. So it's very likely that there will be some hallucinations or inaccuracies in its predictions because humans also hallucinate and are inaccurate in their predictions sometimes. All right, myth, AI knows all. The reality is AI just simply predicts patterns. That's it. Another myth is AI is very objective. Nope, AI reflects data, which is all subjective. Myth, fluent equals correct. Reality, confidence does not equal truth. It does sound really confident, which makes it very believable sometimes. So it's incumbent on us to make sure that we are reading this data and being, inquisitive, challenging it, not accepting everything as truth. Okay, so here's a game or a thought experiment done by Alan Turing. So in 1950, Turing proposed replacing can machines think with an imitation game. If conversation alone can't reliably distinguish human from machine, perception gets tricky. Judge via conversation only. Can you tell who's human? Today, it's easier to fool us because AI has been evolving so immensely, and it sounds, especially in written form, it sounds and looks very human. All right, but that's not understanding. That's just prediction. All right, sounding human is not the same thing as being intelligent. This is why verification and boundaries matter. All right, the transformer. The engine behind the modern chat AI. Ashish Vaswani introduced the transformer, which is an architecture that relies on attention mechanisms rather than recurrence. And here are 3 levels of understanding just to kind of explain it. All right, so kid level understanding, a transformer shines a spotlight on the most relevant words so it can keep meaning consistent. All right, next level practical understanding is each token looks at other tokens and assigns weights. Higher weight means pay more attention over here. Basically, it means that higher weight is more likely to be this than it is this. All right, and a deeper understanding is self-attention relates different positions in the same sequence to compute a representation. This helps coherence, which is, does it make sense, across layers and better long-range context. It scales very well when it does this. All right, so what is attention really? It's relevance scoring in context. All right, so self-attention relates different positions in different sequences to compute a representation. Imagine this. Here's syntax for you. All right, if I say the dog bit Johnny in that specific sequence with those specific words, I can use the same words and just change the sequence, and it has a totally different meaning. The dog or Johnny bit the dog, that's a totally different experience, and it doesn't really make that much sense. Do humans typically bite dogs? No. That's in essence what this is doing. All right? So that's what lets the model keep track of context. So you compare token to token, which creates an attention weight, right? Which builds context representation. This is starting to make more sense, and it does this across multiple layers, which helps feed coherence. Coherence simply means, does this make sense? All right, so why prompt clarity matters. Your words steer the model, what the model attends to. Because the model relies on context and weighting, your prompt is basically you placing the spotlight. You're not controlling the model, but you are guiding it a little bit. This is why some people are calling prompting new literacy. Your capacity to communicate intent becomes a multiplier for outcomes. So here's an activity, a vague versus specific prompt experiment. All right. So pull out a phone, use any sort of AI tool you've got, Chat, Gemini, Claude, Grok, anyone, and we can run through this together. All right. So pick a real life request, anything, email, decision, plan, an explanation for something, or a difficult text message, and then write a vague prompt, a one sentence prompt, no structure, like write me this email, text back my friend. What is a peanut butter jelly sandwich? Rewrite using the formula on the next slide, which is I'll show you here in a second. And then an optional test in AI. So run both of the prompts and compare the results. And then save your best version. Which prompt did you like better? Probably the one with the formula on the next slide. All right, do this for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to show you the next slide. When you see the next slide, pause and do this for the next 10 minutes. If you're with somebody, share. If not, just do it with yourself and compare and contrast. All right, here's the next slide. All right, pause, and then we'll go through this. Or you can pause after I go through this. All right, so this is the prompt formula. All right, a reliable starting template. This is not sacred scripture. It's training wheels that keep you from face planting. All right, so first, you identify a role for the AI. For example, here you say you are a career coach, okay? And then you give it some context. I'm switching industries in 90 days, or I'm getting a new job at another company. 3, give it a task. All right, help me craft a plan. And then 4, give it some constraints or some guidelines. I don't want any fluff. I want you to ask me 3 clarifying questions first. And then number 5, give it an output format. I want bullet steps. I want a checklist. I want a timeline. I want to spend only an hour on this. And then give it an example for reference. So I'm looking for something similar to XYZ example, XYZ plan, or XYZ email, or XYZ recipe. All right, now go ahead and pause, write down this formula, and then replay the video. Okay, so some common failure modes. Some beginner mistakes to avoid. Language models can be subtly wrong. Treat outputs as drafts to verify, especially in high-stake areas. Now, this is going to vary depending on the quality of output that you actually want. If you are asking chat, how tall is Mount Everest, then you might not really care to spend much time on that output. You might even receive something and say, oh, I trust that enough. Now, if you really do care, if you're writing a dissertation on Mount Everest, then you might want to verify, cross-reference that is the actual altitude of Mount Everest. Okay? So your response to ChatGPT and how much you verify is going to completely depend on how deep you want or how high the quality you want of AI's response. All right? So verify at your own discretion. So asking without context, the model can't read your mind. You got to give it some background in order to improve the quality of its response. Okay? Forgetting constraints. Without boundaries, outputs become generic and unfocused. AI is designed to give you what it thinks you want most. All right? And if it doesn't have enough context or constraints, it's just going to give you what it thinks, right? So you got to feed it. You got to let it know what you want. All right? So treating output as truth, always verify claims, especially for important decisions. Political decisions, job decisions, relationship decisions. If you're going to be making big decisions like this and you want to use AI to help you make a more grounded and educated decision, then you should definitely verify claims. All right? If you care enough about the outcome of your decision upon receipt of the output of AI, if you care enough, then definitely spend some energy to verify. And again, the more you do that, the more AI is going to remember and improve the quality of its output in future iterations, in future interactions. It is so important to deepen our relationship with AI so that its output helps us deepen our relationship with ourselves. All right, skipping verification. Ask the model to list assumptions and what you should check. It does make assumptions. And if you ask it to identify what it is assuming, then that can help you be more accurate in your verification. All right? No iteration. First drafts are rarely perfect. Refine based on results. So get a receipt or get an output from AI, verify it, put in some more, hey, I want you to improve this, I want you to take out this. Do multiple iterations with AI. All right, another activity. Build your personal gold prompt. This becomes your take-home artifact. Create a usable prompt that improves life work and self-relationship. Your gold prompt must include one recurring pain point, all 6 formula elements, a verification line, list assumptions and what I should verify, a reflection line, ask me one question that clarifies what I really want, and save it somewhere in your phone. Okay, here are some pain point examples. Choose one that resonates most with you. One example is unclear writing, decision overwhelm, learning something new, a hard conversation, planning and prioritizing, task management, these types of things. All right, pause the video now, take 10 minutes to write out your gold prompt. Okay, we're back, and what did we notice? All right, turn the experience into a rule. The point isn't worshiping the structure. The point is learning how to communicate intent. And again, the more we do this, the easier and easier it becomes, just like anything. And it becomes fun. So, specificity improves usefulness. Clear prompts generate focused, actionable outputs. Constraints reduce fluff. Boundaries help the model stay on track. Format prevents chaos. Requesting structure makes outputs immediately usable. Iteration beats perfection. Refining prompts based on results builds intuition. Responsible use in one side. Okay, stay powerful, stay sane. Model release guidance has explicitly warned about bias and inaccuracy and recommended labeling AI text to avoid confusion. So treat AI as a helpful assistant, not a witness in court. All right? Protect your private data. Label AI-generated text. Verify before acting. Check important claims and decisions. Watch for bias and tone. AI reflects training data patterns from humans. All right? And don't outsource agency. At the end of the day, every decision that you make after receipt of an output from AI is your decision. So, if you want that decision to be as powerful and educated and aligned as possible, deepen your relationship with AI and your life will transform. Reflection. Deepen AI relationship, deepen self-relationship. The short, honest, useful. All right, AI becomes a mirror. It reflects your clarity, your contradictions, your priorities. If you use it consistently, it trains you too. All right, take 60 seconds of silence. Write the first true thing that comes to mind. All right, what did I learn today? Where do I overtrust AI? Where do I underuse it? What's my 1 week experiment? And what is my one gold prompt? All right, to close, a 1 minute commitment, okay? Make it real or it stays theoretical. Pick something small enough you'll actually do. Your nervous system needs proof, not promises. All right? Say an I will statement. I will use my gold prompt. I will verify key outputs. I will iterate at least twice. I will notice myself. And I will share one insight. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey that we are all on, growing as we are going. If any of this resonated with you today, please like and subscribe. There will be more videos coming, especially in this series, and even more series and more books. But if you're curious, visit my website at growasyougo.love. Give me a follow on Instagram or Facebook, and definitely like and subscribe this video for more. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all so much, and I will see you again in the next one.